Hello, everyone, and welcome to our customer panel session here at Cisco Live titled Building a Trusted Workplace. My name is Scott Edwards, and over the next 20 minutes, we're going to be talking to representatives from two very innovative organizations to learn how they've adapted to remote work, how they are planning, in some cases already returning to an office setting, and how they are changing the way they work, all with Cisco technologies. Now, our first panelist is Robert Barnes, who is the Vice President of Energy and Digital Services at EllisDon's. Robert, it's great to have you join us.
Thank you for having me, Scott.
So, Robert, tell our viewers a little bit more about EllisDon's and your role there, but also a little bit about the journey that you've had with Cisco.
Absolutely. So, EllisDon's is a Canadian-based general contractor. We are one of the largest construction management companies in the country. We do business both within Canada and also within the United States, South America, the Middle East, etc. And the phrase that our CEO uses, we provide cradle-to-grave services. So not only are we involved in the pre-design, pre-construction of a building, we construct the building, and then we also provide services to our owners and property managers with respect to maintaining not only the technology, but also facility services associated with that asset or with that building. We have had a long-standing relationship with Cisco, which is extended now for over 10 years. It's a strategic partnership, but also we are, and I think this is unique within the construction industry, we are a Cisco premier partner where we have resources within our team, the team that I manage, known as Energy and Digital Services, that are Cisco certified. So we have the capability to install what we refer to as the intelligent infrastructure within a building, whether that be new construction or whether that be a retrofit. And obviously the purpose of that intelligent infrastructure is to connect all of the devices. Obviously everyone's familiar with the term Internet of Things, but obviously what we're seeing within the construction industry is an explosion of that technology within the built environment. And then we work very closely with our clients in terms of how do you leverage that infrastructure? How do you drive operational and energy efficiencies to provide those asset owners with a return on the investment that they're making in that technology?
So, Robert, tell us a little bit more about how Webex in particular is helping power the EllisDon's workplace.
That's a great question, Scott. So we obviously use Cisco Webex to stay connected with our area offices, which are located nationally across the country, as well as our international offices. And we have invested heavily in the Webex technology. So within our boardrooms, we have all of the, what I would call the latest and greatest Webex technology deployed. Obviously, the office that I'm sitting in this morning includes that technology. And, you know, it's interesting. I would say the pandemic, which is obviously, in fact, in Canada, it was a year today that we moved into shutdown. And the adoption rate of the technology was driven, in my mind, by that pandemic. Because we had the majority, if not all of our resources working remotely. And obviously, that was a significant change for us. In our head office, which is located here in Mississauga, Ontario, we have approximately between 500 to 600 resources that basically within a 1 week time frame were working remotely. And how do you keep the teams connected? How do you do that effectively? Obviously, Cisco basically at that time made the decision to make those Webex licenses free on a corporate level for us, and we were able to take advantage of that. And then it was a training. People weren't familiar with the technology, didn't necessarily understand how to use the technology, but because of the ease with which the technology can be deployed and how it can be utilized by the end user, it was very effective for us, a very effective tool in terms of adoption and allowing people to communicate and feel like they were still part of the team. Obviously, people working from home, there are multiple challenges associated with that, from mental health, spouses, children, etc. It just depends on where you stand within the spectrum of life. But we have continued to use the technology over the last 12 months and continue to drive that adoption. We are in the process right now of revitalizing our main boardroom within our office, which is named after our founder, Don Smith, and that is all being upgraded as we speak to the latest Cisco technology. And a key driver of that decision-making process for a CEO was a WebEx video that we had made with Cisco approximately 30 to 60 days ago. He saw that, said, I want to have access to that technology within my boardroom, and that drove the decision. So you start to see people utilizing the technology, and then the adoption expands from there.
That's awesome to hear, and it's great to see how you've used that, but it's been successful for teams, wherever they might be, to be able to connect with each other. This seems like that's across, just within the office spaces, but also your construction workers, your builders, your designers. And so talk to us a little bit more about how integrating WebEx in all these stages of development have helped, not just with productivity and efficiency, but also from a safety perspective as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in our market, we are obviously pursuing billion-dollar bids. And when we pursue those bids, we are talking teams of, well, we have one right now targeting in Atlantic Canada, where the number of participants would be on any given day, between 40 to 60 individuals. Those 40, 60 individuals are representing our electrical partners, our mechanical partners, our architectural, structural engineers, etc. And when you look at that, and that we're meeting on a weekly basis, if not more frequently than that, how do you share that information? How do you keep people connected? And how do you ensure that the quality of the conversation is where you need it to be to drive the collaboration? So I would say key individuals within our organization have their personal WebEx, so they have their personal rooms. Makes it very easy for people to install, fully integrated within our calendar invites. So the room that I'm sitting in today, I will walk in, I have the room reserved, it'll say hi Robert on the screen. I simply push one button and the meeting has started. And then it's very easy for all of those 10 attendees to be able to access my personal web room, and I can control the room. I can mute them. I can keep those noise levels to a point where it is productive. I can easily share documentation, where something in the past, we would have that on a table and you'd have multiple people looking at that table, looking at those drawings. We're now doing that all electronically through a digital format, obviously. But that collaboration is key. The rooms contain very large screens, obviously. We also provide our employees the ability to have multiple screens at home so that they can do that from wherever they're located. So I think it's been extremely effective, Scott, in terms of being able to utilize that technology and create that team approach. Yes, it's remote. Yes, it's digital, but the feeling is there. And I think we've all become obviously more used to it, and the technology supports that closeness, if you will.
I love it. It's great to hear. So it's interesting because you've talked to us a little bit about how you relied on WebEx to enable this remote work switch almost overnight in some regards. But as you look at people coming back to the office, have people started coming back to the office? It sounds like in some cases they haven't. How have you enabled that safe return to the office as well?
Well, we've experienced it, obviously, with the first wave, the majority of our resources worked remotely, no question of that. And then through the summer of 2020, obviously, we started to bring people back to the office, but in very controlled numbers. So each of the areas would be saying, if I have 40 team members on my team, 20 would work on Tuesday, 20 would work on Wednesday, et cetera, et cetera. So we were keeping the numbers controlled and low, which meant that we would have people within a meeting room, but again, 50% of the attendees, if not more, were still working remotely. So again, we were using Cisco Webex to do that. Obviously, all of our rooms, we have thresholds in terms of the number of people that can sit within a boardroom. We have signage that identifies once a room has been utilized. We have cleaners that come by after every time a room is used, and then it is sanitized. We're also using technology to automatically track our temperature. We're tested for COVID twice a week, and basically that's controlled to your access card. So if you fail the test or you have an elevated temperature, you can't access the facility. So we have a number of controls in place and a number of physical things that we're doing to maintain that safe work environment. We're still, here in our location, we're still in wave 2. Only Monday did we move into the gray zone. So we haven't seen people come back yet. And, listening to the press and the radio this morning, they're talking about obviously the variants in a possible wave 3. So we're not in a state where I'm saying we're bringing people back today. within my team, there's 2 or 3 of us physically in the office out of a team of 25. The majority is still working remotely. I think that will change heading into the summer, but we're not there yet, Scott.
Yeah, that makes sense. So knowing that, I'm curious to get your thoughts on, we hear a lot of people talking about some, the flexibility that they offer to their employees working remote or coming back to the office. What do you think is going to be the best option for EllisDon? Are you going to see everyone come back to the office, or is it going to be more of a hybrid approach?
That's a very interesting question, right? I mean, there's certainly diverse thoughts on that. That some people would say that most people would like to come back to the office, but there is a percentage of our employees that I think enjoy the hybrid approach. They like the flexibility. We recently just hired an individual. He started with us on Monday. He's got a young family, very adept at using the technology. In the past, I would say, okay, you need to be in the office, but I've changed my perspective significantly. I think people can be productive using the technology, and as long as the work is being completed, I'm not necessarily concerned about where that work is being completed from, as long as people are staying connected, whether that's through the use of technology or physically coming to site. And I think we are definitely going to see that hybrid approach. And I think it will evolve over time. I mean, different people are comfortable with different things, but fundamentally, I believe the workspace will be hybrid. I don't think there's any question of that. We've proven over the last 12 months that we can effectively run our business, we can grow our business, again, using that technology, using Webex to facilitate that.
All right, Robert, that is such great information. We appreciate you sharing that with us. So now let's transition to our second panelist, Chuck Golich, who is the president of the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers, otherwise known as ASHRAE. Chuck, thanks so much for joining us on this panel today.
Thank you for having me.
So Chuck, for our viewers who aren't familiar with ASHRAE, tell us a little bit more about your organization and your role, and also where Cisco has helped ASHRAE in this new hybrid world of work.
Well, let's start with who ASHRAE is. ASHRAE is a volunteer organization of professionals in the HVAC&R industry. That's the heating, ventilating, air conditioning, and refrigerating world. And we have over 54,000 members around the world. We have 198 chapters of members throughout Canada, the United States, Central America, South America, Europe, Africa, India, the Middle East, Southeast Asia. We are a global organization of engineers, contractors, researchers, teachers, you name it, all focused on the arts and sciences of the HVAC&R world. And as to what we do, we write standards. We develop guidelines to help the design and the construct community design buildings, provide energy efficiency, address net zero design solutions. We're beginning a quest on joining in the decarbonization and climate change narrative. We look to provide communities, policymakers, and practitioners objective-based guidance on how to execute and apply engineering technology.
So on that last part of the question, I'm curious to understand how Cisco has helped you guys and what you're trying to do and accomplish, especially in this new crazy distributed world of work that we're a part of.
Cisco is helping us because we're not a company based in one location. We have a front office that's in the Georgia location, but we're worldwide, and we have to connect people around the world. And I enumerated 54,000 plus people. You can't do that in a face-to-face world all the time. You just can't gather people on that scale. ASHRAE depends upon virtual connection across boundaries to gather our resources to do the work of the society. And Cisco is instrumental in being a part of that. We just sold our existing building in the Atlanta area and we repurposed some 1970s era building stock in the Peachtree Corners area of Georgia. And we moved into it, and we are networking that entire facility so that internal to the ASHRAE operation, our staff and support for what we do are connected. We have meeting space that is connected, and we have a facility that is what I would like to call the lighthouse, connected to the world. So that's where Cisco comes into play with providing the backbone to enable that connection.
So you mentioned this new reconstruction and redesign of this office space, and it's actually quite interesting. There's a video that I've seen that was done with Cisco and NTT talking about this transformation of your own office building with both environment and intelligence in mind. Can you talk to us a little bit more about how you landed on Cisco to help you accomplish this new office design?
Cisco sold itself. I will have to give credit to the president of ASHRAE before me, presidential member Daryl Boyce. He's from Canada, and he worked at Carleton University in Canada, and he could see the power and capacity of what Cisco could do, connecting information and building operating systems and evolving the operation of built solutions to be just digitally phenomenal. The buildings can become living beings where the people within and the people maintaining and operating it are all connected. And that, shall we say, legacy of what you demonstrated you could do carried over into being a part of the evolution of our new headquarters.
Love it. Great stuff. So, as I look at this, I want to ask now you both a question, Chuck and Robert. Clearly both ASHRAE and EllisDon have made commitments to invest in this sustainable future, as well as a safe return to an office environment, as well as a hybrid environment, and keeping everyone connected. So Chuck, from your experience, what should viewers walk away from this session with?
The way we see the world happening, we got thrust into a world of having to live via digital connection to do our work. And we have all adapted to that. And Cisco and its capacity made that easier to do. But that's a lifeline of what ASHRAE is. We have to have that global connection to support our membership and our mission. As far as on-site access to our new headquarters, I think we're going to see a hybrid scenario also. For one thing, we're doing hybrid right now with administrative controls to try to keep people as separated as much as possible, just to deal with the logistics of the SARS-CoV-2 situation. But we have the capacity now to have people work remotely from home, work remotely at meeting sites when ASHRAE gathers in some places. I don't see anything changing. I see the backbone and capacity of what the Cisco platform provides us. It gives us the operational flexibility we need to act globally and not have to be face-to-face to do so.
Love it. And Robert, want to get your perspective. What would you like to leave our listeners and viewers with from this session?
I couldn't agree more with what Chuck is saying. I think what I found so interesting through the pandemic is that, with the first wave starting in March of 2020, we definitely saw a decrease in our pursuit activity. And obviously we're focused on technology within new construction and within retrofit projects. But I would say by May, June of 2020, we saw an exponential increase in our activity. And that has continued to this day. And my take from that is that asset owners, property owners, pension funds that are investing in physical assets are doubling down on their technology spend. They recognize that as people are brought back to the work environment, they are going to rely on technology to do that safely and effectively. They also understand that that hybrid work environment is the new normal, if I can use that expression, and therefore they need the technology to be able to support that. And if they're going to attract tenants to their spaces, to their commercial offices, retail, campuses, shopping malls, etc., that technology is going to play a key role in their ability to attract key tenants to their space. So I think that that investment is going to continue. I think that is terrific news for the division that I run, and I think it's terrific news for Cisco, and that partnership is going to flourish. That's my sense of it, Scott.
Thank you, and Robert and Chuck, thank you so much for joining us on this Building a Trusted Workplace panel discussion at Cisco Live. It's really great to hear both of your stories, right? Very high level about what you're doing, how you've been able to manage a new hybrid work environment, right? And what this future might look like, and how others can take advantage of some of the technologies like Cisco to help them in this move forward. We just want to remind everyone, if you're interested in learning more about how to build a trusted workplace with Cisco, we have some links available for you to check out, as well as a little bit more of the stories that we've heard from both ASHRAE and EllisDon's in the video links that we have. We can post them here as well. And we thank you for joining with us. We hope you enjoyed watching this, and we hope you enjoy the rest of Cisco Live. Thank you.